So, was there any value in that debate last night? Was anyone well served by what we witnessed? And did it shift the race for the presidency in the United States? Adrian Morrow is a Washington correspondent for the Globe and Mail. He joins me now. Adrian, good to see you again. And I'm not sure if we've ever seen a debate anywhere go off the rails so quickly and so badly as the one we saw last night. But let me walk through some of the, let's see if we can find something to talk about in here. Was there a defining moment for President Trump in the debate? Let's start there.
I think there were really two. If you wanted to pick a single moment, I think it was the one where he refused to really explicitly condemn white supremacy, where he had the moderator asking him repeatedly, basically giving him this very sort of open opportunity to just say, I condemn white supremacy. But he sort of danced around the question, said, I would condemn it, but then asked, what is it exactly you want me to condemn? Was very kind of cagey on it. That should be such a simple thing for literally everybody, including obviously the president of the United States, the supposed leader of the free world, to condemn a hateful ideology. So the fact that Trump wouldn't do it or tried to dodge that question, I think was very defining for him. And then on a more sort of macro level, I guess, just the debating style that the president came in with. That we knew that Trump would be belligerent. We knew that he would interrupt. But I don't think that anybody quite expected him to do it to that degree, to basically spend the entire debate, heckling Biden, talking over Biden, fighting with the moderator, right. And I think that really, that obviously shaped the entire character of the debate. And so maybe it wasn't exactly a moment for the president, but I think it really showed this is what he was all about. That's the approach he took.
What about Joe Biden? How did Joe Biden do? And was there a defining moment for him that had, might have people paying closer attention?
I mean, I suppose that the soundbite this morning is going to be him, telling Donald Trump to shut up. But overall, I sort of felt like Biden seemed to be trying a couple of different tacks with Trump, and I'm not sure, that even he could figure out which one exactly was going to work the best. Early on, you saw him pushing back, saying Trump was a clown, basically saying don't listen to this guy. He repeatedly called Trump a liar. That seemed like a very calculated choice on Biden's part, in terms of his framing of the president. But then there were other moments where, Biden seemed to think, maybe he was getting drawn too much into it, or he was sinking to Trump's level, and seemed to be trying to sort of step back a little bit and just sort of disengage and ignore the president, which gave Trump a little bit more sort of leeway and airtime to kind of say what he wanted to say. So, I know Biden sort of was going into this debate trying to seem like the adult in the room. And I'm not sure, that he was really able to figure out which of those kind of tacks was going to get him there.
Right. I mean, as a Canadian, I'm always listening for something from the candidates that might tell me what to watch for in the Canada-U.S. relationship, because this is the fight between two men who want to be president. Did we hear anything last night about that might give us a hint of what to watch for as Canadians?
Yeah, very difficult to kind of pull anything out. I mean, the notion that Donald Trump may not accept the election results if he doesn't like, how they look after November 3rd. Maybe that's the thing that Canadians can kind of take away with it, because, at the end of the day, this is our closest neighbor, our biggest trading partner, our longtime ally. So the sorts of things that happen, if things, really sort of get chaotic or blow up here in the days after the election, Canada will probably feel the reverberations in some sense. You didn't really get as much content on trade, though, as I was expecting. Not that we got a lot of content generally last night, but it's the sort of thing, it is one of those genuine points of disagreement between the two of them, where, Trump has a very protectionist stance, holds up the USMCA as one of his big accomplishments as president, and Biden is a free trader, and so I did actually expect a little bit more of a clash on that, but you got very, very little of it. There was some reference to China, but that's as far as it went.
Well, overall, we didn't get a whole lot into policy. It was all about insults and attacks, right? I mean, yeah. Each side has its loyal supporters, and these kinds of debates are, I think, really about trying to win over the undecided or the wavering voters, and there aren't a whole lot of those, it would seem, going in according to the polls in the United States. How did the candidates do at that, trying to win over people who have yet decided? Did they give them anything to grab onto here?
I don't think so. I mean, I think most undecided voters, most voters who are sort of only peripherally, interested in politics would just be completely turned off by this entire spectacle, whether they watched some of it last night or they're looking at the clips this morning and just seeing, three guys all sort of talking over each other and shouting each other down. I don't think any undecided voter is going to feel, sort of motivated by this. And in fact, the opposite is true. I think if you were trying to get fewer people to vote, if you felt that, your best bet, as a candidate candidate was to solidify your support and then try to get, as many sort of centrist voters to just, stay home because they were so upset with the whole process as possible. This is probably the sort of debate that you would go for. So I think if anything, it's gonna turn people off in the middle and maybe discourage some people from voting.
All right, here's the really good news, he said with a slight smirk. There are 2 more of these presidential debates to go. The next one on October 15th is a town hall format with audience questions. How hopeful are you that it might be better than what we saw last night?
At this point, I'm not even certain whether the next couple of debates are going to go ahead. It seems entirely possible that the Biden campaign might make some requests after last night of the debate commission and say, we're only going to participate if you guarantee that there will be no interruptions, that everybody's going to get 2 minutes, sort of thing, that there won't be this kind of an opportunity for that sort of back and forth.
Oh, good luck with that. I mean,
yeah, who knows whether the Trump campaign would ever agree to something like that. So I think something certainly has to change to avoid, what happened last night. I thought Chris Wallace, did attempt to intervene, quite a bit, was trying to, to keep especially to keep Donald Trump on track when there's a lot of crosstalk. But every time he did, it just sort of turned into this, 3-way brawl, with him kind of getting mixed up in it. So it's really hard to see how you fix the format to ensure that doesn't happen again.
Yeah, well, that's the open question, right? Because the Trump team had agreed to these 2-minute answers uninterrupted. That was the agreement going in, but the president certainly didn't hold to it. So who knows whether any other agreement would stand up for a change in format at the next one, right?
Yeah, exactly. And who knows what another moderator could do. I mean, there were probably different reviews of how Chris Wallace handled this, but overall it was difficult for me to see at times, what a different moderator would have done to constrain this or to actually get everybody sticking to their 2 minutes. I mean, I suppose you could start cutting off people's microphones or, put the candidates in separate rooms or something like that and cut the camera away from them when their speaking time was done. But beyond that, it is hard to see, what you would do as a moderator to ensure that you kind of keep these sorts of things on track.
All right. Adrian Morrow, appreciate your perspective. Thanks for taking time to speak with me. Take care.
Thanks for having me.